Respect is not lost in a single dramatic failure. It erodes in silence. It fades in the small compromises no one else sees. The promises we break to ourselves, the discipline we postpone, the standards we quietly lower. A man rarely wakes up one morning and realizes he has lost respect. Instead, he slowly becomes someone he would not have admired in his youth. We live in an age that rewards display over depth, reaction over reflection, noise over principle. And yet, the ancient warning still stands. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The tragedy of modern life is not that we do not know what is good. It is that we delay becoming it. Each morning, before the world begins its demands, we face a quiet tribunal. We know whether we rose when we said we would. We know whether we trained our bodies or surrendered to comfort. We know whether our words yesterday were measured or impulsive. Respect begins there. There are habits that quietly strip a man of dignity. They do not appear catastrophic. They appear convenient. But over time, they hollow out the core. And if we are honest, we recognize them. We have lived them. Today, we confront them, not to shame ourselves, but to reclaim command. 1. The habit of emotional reactivity. The first habit that erodes respect is the inability to govern one's emotions. A man who reacts to every insult, every inconvenience, every provocation becomes predictable. And what is predictable can be manipulated. We live in a culture that encourages expression without mastery. Anger is justified. Envy is normalized. Impulse is excused as authenticity. But as Epictetus reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Reaction is a choice even when it feels involuntary. Each morning we must prepare for irritation. Traffic will be slow. Someone will speak carelessly. Plans will change. If we expect ease, we will respond with frustration. If we expect challenge, we respond with steadiness. Marcus Aurelius advised himself at dawn, "You will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant." He did not resent this. He prepared for it. A man who cannot master anger cannot command respect. His outbursts reveal dependence on circumstance. His moods become weather systems others must endure. But when we remain composed under pressure, something shifts. Silence becomes strength. Restraint becomes authority. We do not eliminate emotion. We discipline it. We feel the surge of anger and choose clarity. We feel envy and choose gratitude. We feel fear and choose courage. Respect grows in those pauses between impulse and action. To govern the self is to reclaim sovereignty. Without it, we are subjects of every passing mood. 2. The habit of seeking approval. The second habit is subtler. The hunger to be liked. Approval feels harmless. It feels social, even virtuous. But when we bend our standards to secure it, we fracture our integrity. As Seneca warned, "He who depends on himself will attain the greatest happiness." A man who depends on applause becomes fragile. His direction shifts with the crowd. His convictions weaken when they become inconvenient. In the modern world, validation is quantified. It is measured in views, in praise, in agreement. But numbers do not measure virtue. 1,000 voices approving weakness do not transform it into strength. Each morning we must ask, who governs our decisions? Is it principle or perception? If we alter our speech to avoid discomfort, if we conceal truth to avoid rejection, we silently trade respect for acceptance. True respect is often earned in silence. It is built when we hold a line others are unwilling to hold. It is reinforced when we choose what is right over what is popular. This path can feel lonely. But loneliness in virtue is superior to companionship in compromise. We do not seek to be admired. We seek to be aligned. Alignment breeds inner steadiness, and steadiness commands respect, whether acknowledged or not. 3. The habit of comfort. Over-discipline. Comfort is the most persuasive enemy of greatness. It whispers that tomorrow is sufficient. It negotiates with our standards. It convinces us that ease is earned. But discipline is not cruelty toward ourselves. It is loyalty to our future. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Work of body, mind, and character. When we delay training, when we avoid hard conversations, when we abandon difficult goals, we teach ourselves a dangerous lesson. That comfort outranks growth. And once that lesson is learned, respect begins to decay. Each morning presents a choice between friction and softness. Friction strengthens, softness weakens. We know this instinctively. The body grows through resistance. The mind sharpens through study. Character fortifies through adversity. Discipline restores dignity because it proves to us that we can command ourselves. It is not dramatic, it is repetitive. It is often unseen, but its effects accumulate like compounded interest. We do not chase comfort, we chase capability, and capability commands respect. 4. The habit of blame. Blame feels relieving. It transfers responsibility outward. It absolves the ego, but it robs us of power. When we blame circumstance, we declare ourselves victims of it. When we blame others, we surrender control over our progress. Yet as Epictetus observed, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly which are external, not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Respect grows when we assume ownership. Even when we are wronged, we retain responsibility for our response. Even when we are limited, we retain authority over our effort. Blame is seductive because it feels justified. But justification does not build strength. Ownership does. Ownership transforms hardship into training. Each morning, instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we ask, "How will I respond?" That shift restores agency, and agency restores respect. A man who refuses to blame becomes immovable. He cannot be destabilized by circumstance because he does not grant it dominion over his character. V. The habit of inconsistency. The final habit is inconsistency. Grand declarations followed by quiet surrender. Intensity followed by indifference. Promises made in passion, abandoned in comfort. Inconsistency breeds distrust, first within ourselves, then from others. When our words exceed our actions, respect diminishes. Not because we failed once, but because we failed repeatedly without correction. As Seneca taught, as is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. Goodness requires steadiness. It requires repetition of virtue, not bursts of enthusiasm. Each morning is an opportunity to narrow the gap between intention and action. We do not need dramatic reinvention. We need reliability. We need to become the kind of men whose habits speak louder than their aspirations. Consistency builds identity. Identity builds trust. Trust builds respect. We walk this path together, not toward applause, not toward domination, but toward self-mastery. Respect is not demanded, it is embodied. It is the quiet byproduct of discipline, emotional control, ownership, integrity, and steadiness. And when we look in the mirror at the end of the day and find no compromise staring back, respect remains intact.